directional intent and seeing how it sequences through the body. That's what we did. Now, this time, we're just going to play with the idea of how we started the week, pelvic clock, which is basically an initiation trying to move the pelvis around a clock face. We're going to play the same kind of game that we played with the arm, but it's going to be a little different. So if you think of pelvic clock, and if one person is lying on their back with their legs long, just like this, that's kind of like starting position. Person does a clock. By the way, when you do the clock, notice if that's a little bit different from the beginning of the week. Because, yeah, legs straight. And then there'll be two perspectives. There'll be the perspective of the person lying on the floor actually feeling what that's like to do. Which hours are easier to get to? You can't have their perspective. That's completely their own. But you also have a perspective. From the outside, you can look at this initiation of the pelvis going around and around the clock. And you can kind of confer, guess between yourselves, is there an hour that's easier to get to? What is it that you see that might help you to guess that that's the case? And then once you've both had a perspective, in other words, once you've had a good look a couple of times around and around the clock, then what you start to do is find out, how does leg position affect which hours become easier to get to, even easier, and which hours get more difficult to get to. So the kinds of positions that you verbally ask your partner to get into could be varied, and simple and discreet is the way to start. Some variation that you think, oh, that's not going to make much difference. You can just ask them, could you have your toes pointing towards the ceiling? That's a variation in position. Person does a clock. Do they feel it makes a difference? Do some hours become easier to get to? All right. Bend this leg, don't hook the big toe, and just let the leg lie like that. Okay, it'll probably be up here. And then do a pelvic clock here. Which hours are easier to get to? Which hours are more difficult to get to? And the task is not to overcome the restriction. The task is to really find out from from personal experience and through observation whether or not leg position has any effect on the ability to go around the clock. Then once you've done all those discrete positions, then you can start to get a little bit more inventive. All right, so let's do this and let's do that. Okay, off around the clock. So you go from simple to more complex. To eventually, if you want to, no contact with the ground. Yep. Make sense? So what we'll do is we'll do that for about half an hour or so. And then we'll leave that and go straight into an ATM. And we'll finish off the day with a reflective process where you just get to reflect on your experiences during the week. And that's how we'll do a wrap. Okie dokie. So please go and play and notice what you notice, because that's really useful information.